Hey, how's it going, everybody? All is Dust here. Welcome back to Kerbal Space Program. So, I understand that we had actually started a previous save, but, you know, I'm having fun in my career. So, what we're actually going to do is we're actually going to perform a routine mission, because I like to roleplay, and here we're gonna check it out. Right here I've got the KSS space station, the Kerbal International Space Station, or KISS for short. As you can see right there she is. All pretty and whatnot, but she is a little outdated. She's lacking a little bit of a few experiments that I could add. And we could actually use some new solar panels on her, because I got the extra large solar panels. So what we're going to do, in addition to all that, we also have the current crew. They've been up there for roughly 45 days. And, you know, they're getting kind of antsy, all crammed up there and whatnot. And in the interest of attempted authenticity, we're actually going to send up the new shift. So, what we have to do is we need to bring up the retrofit module with docking ports to attach to the new to the old station. And we're going to need to send up a new crew, just to give the old crew a break. So, here we go. We're going to actually, throw together a new ship. And now, full disclosure, this commentary is actually being added in post, because honestly, I don't think I could keep up constant dialogue for the entire hour and 40 minutes. So, that I had recorded. So, we're just gonna add the commentary in post, as you hear now, chop it up, and we're gonna make it fit. So right now, all this is me figuring out the best way of going about it. So what I'm gonna do here is just add a little bit of a cut, and I will come back with a more complete vessel. Alright, so after changing a few things, checking some notes, I've got this so far. Right now I'm just testing the Communitron, making sure it doesn't clip or get in the way of the service bay, or cause any unsightly issues and all that. But for the most part, it is almost done. I am performing the finishing touches right now. As you can see, the aerodynamic fairing, thank you. The aerodynamic fairing is going up, and the basic idea I was going for was similar to the Apollo 11, where the lander module was placed upside down on top of the command module, so that it could be deployed while in lunar orbit. And that's actually how I performed my landing and return of the moon in Kerbal. Build the command module, attach it upside down on top of the command module. Get that thing up to space once I've established orbit. Undock them. Move the crew from the command module to the landing module. Engage the SAS, have the AI, hold the ship steady in the command module in orbit, and then send the lander down. Collect the data, and because I'm on the same plane as the command module's orbit, once it comes back around, just go back up, rendezvous with the command module, dock, transfer any remaining fuel, jettison the lander module after taking all the data and putting it into the new command module, and return home. Simple as that. Now, here I was actually playing with the idea of using the RCS nozzles that take liquid fuel. I decided against that because I was not familiar with them. I like the fuel block or the nozzle blocks like that because they have omnidirectional capabilities, and so I only put 4, which will cause problems later because, as you can see, this thing is pretty heavy at roughly 373 tons. And right here, I actually learned this from a streamer, Das Valdez, I believe. I'm sure I'm saying I've forgotten his name, but I will correct that if needs correcting. But that light is actually a dorsal indicator. I put that on the dorsal side or the top of the ship or the back to let me know the orientation of the vessel. Dorsal. Think of it this way: dorsal. Think of a fish or a shark. The dorsal fin is sticking up from the back. But anyway, that's just for me to be able to figure out. And a light is much easier to see. Say if I'm on the dark side of a planet or celestial body, and can't exactly see that well. Just turn on the lights. Oh, there's my dorsal. Okay, I'm good. So here I was actually second guessing myself yet again. I had about 7,100 meters per second in delta V at the time. I decided to scrap the additional fuel, and now I'm down to roughly 6,100 in delta V. And I decided, I don't need to spend all that money. I'm not exactly going that far. But at this point, I feel satisfied with the ship. Valentina, Bob, and Bill are all ready to go up. Scientists have looked it over. Yep, everything's good. Let's just make these last adjustments and wheel her out. And so we go ahead to launch. Everyone's all excited. Everyone ready. And mission in 3, 2, 1. And go. Okay, who forgot to check their staging? So after recovering the vessel and wheeling it back out onto the launch pad, checking everything over, we are clear for launch, and pointed skyward, she is on her way. We're beginning that gravity tunnel pretty early. I do it after we've met around 50 meters per second in vertical velocity, and that's due to the aerodynamics of everything. And in addition, once I start jettisoning parts, all the different stages, I don't want them to fall back on top of the space station. For good reason, because that will cost me money to fix everything. So we are heading up. I see the Mach cones beginning to form. I don't actually want to be breaking the speed of sound at this low in the atmosphere, and that's because that's really wasted fuel. There is a terminal velocity attached to it. I don't want the air fighting me as much as I want the air fighting me as little as possible, and to prevent that, you don't go as fast. However, it came to my attention after watching one of Scott Manley's videos that rockets don't actually have 50% thrust. They're either on or they're off. So it makes things in Kerbal a little easier, but less authentic. And maybe I will start trying to do it that way, either having it full throttle or off. And if I wanted, even more authenticity, I would get certain mods like remote tech and what have you, in order to, which means that I need a satellite network in order to communicate with unmanned probes and all that. But that is a discussion for another time. As it is right now, my mods are just Kerbal Engineer, and that's all data. That's all it is. So we're at 2,500. I'm sorry. We're at 28,000 meters and climbing. At this point, the engines have cut out. First stage is complete. A little bit of contact with the empty fuel tanks, but we are clear and away, heading closer to the stars. So right now our APO is at about, or is very good in the out of the atmosphere. So at this point, I'm just gonna make last adjustments, turn more towards the horizon, and increase our horizontal velocity, because our vertical speed is, we technically don't need any more at this point. And at this point, I feel that atmospheric drag is to a minimum, so I deploy so I remove the fairings in order to reduce weight and save our precious delta V. And so finally going completely horizontal, or as horizontal as is possible. And just gonna increase that horizontal speed until we have a nice lower Kerbal orbit. And there we go. We are finally out of atmosphere. We are doing pretty good on fuel. The mission already looks positive. I'm deploying the solar panels in order to obviously keep power, because the command module does have an AI probe, or has an AI core. Just in case we need to have it unmanned for a few moments. We don't want that spinning around out of control. And now I'm turning dorsal up. At this point, there's no real up anymore, because we are no longer affected by the. We are no longer affected. It's only up relative to the planet. At this point, we are in space, and so there is no such thing as up. Well, up doesn't matter. Every way is up. And just quick saving, just to be safe. Gonna time warp a little bit forward in order to get closer to our apoapse, or the highest point in the orbit. Now that I pass that, I am going to continue to increase the horizontal speed in order to up the paroapse. And the reason I do that is if I just keep going, my apo is just going to keep going up and up and up, and my paro isn't gonna circularize. And I really want a circular orbit, because it makes things a lot easier in planning and rendezvousing and what have you. And there goes the camera flip. And that's an orbit. So we could cut these engines, just as we do now, and we won't come down. And thing I find, the The common misconception that I keep hearing is space is not up necessarily. It's straight. What you're trying to do when getting something into orbit is you're missing the planet. You're going so fast that gravity can't pull you back to the ground faster than you are going over the horizon. And you know what? That said, now that we have a decent orbit established, all it really is going to be is matching the inclination and finally rendezvousing with the space station in order to deliver our payload. Anyway, I'm going to leave this right here. So next episode we're actually going to be rendezvousing with the station, delivering the valuables and the new crew, and turning around and come back. So thank you all so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Y'all have a great night. Peace.